Some of you are working a permanent 9 to 5, while others of you are consultants or independent contractors. But it's not remiss of me to say that some of you are looking for ways to make additional income, or at least kickstart a business that you're passionate about. This could be within the creative industry, such as an artist, a singer, someone who paints or draws or does decorations or goodies and treats for individuals. This could also be within the business services niche as a coach or a consultant, or somebody who provides some sort of training. This could be in so many different sort of facets. However, if you're trying to build a business while working at the same time, it doesn't go without its challenges. And I just want to talk through some ideas that have helped me build my business in terms of, really making it through as a contractor and previous permanent employee as well. So the first thing I want to say is that you have to be clear that you really do love what you're doing. What do I mean by this? They say passions don't pay the bills, but if you do have a deep desire, some may even argue an obsession about what it is that you're aiming to complete, then you are more likely going to achieve. We've heard so many different stats about how, 95% or even 80% of businesses fail within their first year, and only 95% of them or 5% of them go on to do extremely well after 5 years. I mean, those are numbers. You don't have to fit those numbers. But it does say something about grit. It does say something about resilience. It does say something about, keeping your eye on the prize. And the first thing I want to say is that there needs to be some level of motivation and drive and passion for what it is that you're doing. I've spoken about Daniel H. Pink in many different videos before. And really and truly, there is this idea of motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic forms. I think Deci talks about this in one of his papers. And effectively, what they are saying is that, if you have intrinsic motivations, things that come from within, you are more likely going to do something and do it for a continuous amount of time. Whereas if you have only extrinsic motivations, things that you're motivated by, that comes in the form of money, as an example, or getting gifts or some sort of benefit, it's only going to last so long. And there were various experiments that were done studying habits with mice and rats and all this kind of stuff there. And it showed that having a combination of things that worked for you and didn't work for you was actually quite powerful in the long term, because it trained you to think and even want that thing even more. So all I'm saying here really is that you need to be really passionate about what you're doing. You really need to be motivated and driven to the point where it may be seen as obsession. The second thing is you need to be clear about your market. Okay, be clear about your market. And what I'm saying here is that, what types of people would like to see your services or actually buy your services or products? Do you have an idea of what that looks like? Do you have an idea of numbers? Okay. Are you only focusing on, men or women or both, or certain sexual orientations or gender types or socio-demographics or psychodemographics? Like, what type of person are you focusing on? And what can evidence this? Have there been opportunities or experiences or evidence that other businesses and people have been successful within these pursuits? That's for you to understand. That's for you to research. That's for you to dive into. And, you may be disheartened to find out that actually there's not much. Then you have to understand that if that's the case, within the change management space, you're known as what is known as an early adopter, or at least an innovator, so to speak. Okay. So an innovator is somebody who is fresh off the mark. They've seen something that hasn't necessarily been done before. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that your idea is the best idea, but it may mean that it may take some time to get into the market or get the market to understand that what you're doing is revolutionary. Okay. Now, we can all feel like this is the case, but there are so many things out there that have been done, maybe within your community or within your space or for the socio-demographic that you serve. This is an innovative thing. So you have to really understand who you're trying to serve. The third thing I'd say is you need to be clear about your strategy. Like, how are you approaching this? Because if you're working a 9 to 5 or you're consulting or contracting, that's taking up time. So you need to be able to understand the bigger picture. What I mean by that is what happens throughout the whole customer journey from start to finish. Are people being sort of seeing your brand through content, okay, free content, or is it paid content? I've always said to different contractors that I speak to, because you're compensated a certain way, it may be easier for you to think about paid means, okay? It's still the same content game in terms of producing different types of content for those advertising streams, but you still need to be able to get yourself out there. So your brand awareness, how are you getting yourself out there? The second thing is how are you getting people to the thing that you want them to see? This may be your website, this may be a product, etc., etc. How are you driving traffic? The next thing I'd say is how are you getting leads? How are you building your email list? And also how you get in sales and how you're retaining those people as well. Of course, we could talk about this in more detail, but the point I'm saying is that do you know what success looks like for each of those different metrics? Do these metrics apply to your business and what you're trying to do? And also, are you clear about what your funnel or customer journey looks like from start to finish? Or have an idea of it? It doesn't need to be complicated. It needs to be simple enough for you to execute on it. So think about that, because that higher picture thinking is key. For some people who are on it, they may develop a business plan. For others, they may do a slide deck. You can go on Canva these days and they have business plan templates for you that you can just fill out. And, that should give you some sense of clarity. But understand the bigger picture. The next thing I'd say is, are you clear about your key tasks? I did a video the other day talking about I think it was Darren Hardy's book, The Entrepreneur or Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster, okay? And effectively, he talks about this concept of being clear about what you need to prioritize. What are the rate limiting steps? What are the key activities, the cornerstone activities that are going to push the needle in your business? Stop faffing about with just focusing on the things that feel shiny and new. We live in this sort of age, especially within, the Western societies like the UK and US, where we're focusing on this idea of fame and being in front of the cameras and all this kind of stuff there. That's always a good thing if you know how to harness it. If you don't have the right product or service, then there's no point, especially if you're trying to build a business. But if fame's the thing that you're looking for, that's a whole different conversation. So what is the thing that's going to drive in sales? Okay, it's not just about sales, it's about creating an impact as well, of course. But the bare definition of a business is commercial activity. There has to be some sort of activity that is showing that you're making money. In the first year or two, you're going to lose money. You are, whether that's through advertising, hiring people, paying for software, etc., etc. But, paying for event buildings, all of that kind of jazz. But this should aim towards making sales. And so if you're just focusing on social media for social media's sake, but you have no product or service, why? You may be at a different stage. That's fair enough. Maybe you're just starting out and everything else. But if you're calling yourself a business, but you're not making money from it, why are you doing that? I've been very clear, okay? A lot of my money right now, as of 2022, in the mid of it, is focused or coming from contracting, okay? Consulting, all of that kind of stuff, coaching. But if I want to build what I'm trying to do for Mastery Group, then I can't say that I have a solid business within that space. I can't say that. I'm developing a business. I'm developing a brand. I'm being clear about where I'm at. So focus on the priorities that are going to allow you to actually excel and really go deep. Okay, don't be afraid to go deep. It's really hard. If you only have 2 hours after work, then you need to be able to spend those 2 hours the right way. And this is why it pays to be clear about your high strategic level thinking, but also what you need to prioritize. If you're not sure what you need to prioritize, speak to a coach, speak to someone who's done it before, brainstorm it with some objective and reliable friends. Talk to different people within your audience. Best thing to do is to survey your audience and understand. Don't be afraid to take a step back to understand the bigger picture. Because sometimes we're like, I need to make money, but that you're going to lose yourself. It's very hard. The other thing I want to say is about burnout. I did a talk about burnout the other day to my friend's charity and to a group of amazing ladies. Okay, it's called the She Is Royal Conference. It happens every single year. And my presentation was on burnout. And this is something that has been rife during the pandemic. This is something that we've all experienced. And this is because we've been focusing more of our time on producing the bag, producing the goods for someone else's business, which is fine. We need to get paid. However, and I said this to the missus today, We need to be able to wake up and do the things that we want to do. That's the first thing we need to focus on. We shouldn't be waking up and going onto the laptop. We should be waking up to work out. We should be waking up to start some stuff on our business. We should be waking up to pray and meditate. We should focus on things that are going to support our personal growth, that are going to support our business, that are going to support all of these things before we think about anything else. It doesn't mean that, these things are second class things, but when it comes to your life, when it comes to what you're deeply passionate about, when it comes to the dreams that you're trying to fulfill, the first things you need to focus on are the things that will support your personal growth, will support your business. Which leads me on to my next point. If you want to be successful, you're going to have to be able to manage your health. And what I've realized, which I've known over the years, but there have been months where things have been a bit tricky at times, is that it comes down to sleep. I remember back in 2020 when I was coaching quite a few clients, and I've pushed it down a little bit because I'm focusing on other things. I realized that a lot of the problems that they had were related to sleep. Same problems I had. And not only until I started sleeping earlier, I was able to wake up earlier. I was feeling more refreshed. I was able to go to the gym and be more active or do things focused on my business. This is the beauty of sleeping earlier. And plus you still have the time to do all this other stuff. You feel like you're getting away with it. Like how are you able to be so productive and have so much energy? So all of these things are important when it comes down to making sure that you are focusing on the right stuff. Okay. Health is another thing. If you're eating stuff that you're intolerant to, that's going to slow you down, my friends. It's going to slow you down. If you're gluten intolerant or if you're lactose intolerant or something else intolerant, you're going to be sluggish. You're going to have upset stomachs. You're not going to feel right. You're not going to do the things you want to do. These things are really important. So manage these basics, because once you get these basics in gear, you'll be fine. But the problem for most of you is sleep. I'm telling you, you're not sleeping early enough. That's what it boils down to. I know there's this mindset that's been developed in terms of, I'm not going to get sleep. I'm going to get 5 hours sleep, 6 hours sleep in terms of, supporting my dream. You're going to burn out. I promise you, you're going to burn out. Some jobs make it difficult for you to even get the opportunity. And so the next thing I want to say to you is that I don't like saying this sometimes, but sometimes you have to be realistic and objective about the situation you're in. Whether we like it or not, there are only a few things that are going to push the needle, okay? And that is money, okay, using it in the right way. There's also going to be your effort and energy directed in the right way. And it's also going to be how you spend your time or how you manage your activities. All of these things are important. And if you don't have the bravery to utilize the objective common sense that you were given, then you're always going to miss the point. And you're never ever going to take the risk to focus on what needs to be focused on. And sometimes that means stepping back from your business, which is really a brand for most people, and really sort of doubling down. Focusing on paying off your debts. Finding a better paid job that can support what you're doing. Maybe finding people or funding or help to support what it is that you're trying to do. So these are all things to consider. Let me know below, by the way, what is the one thing that is stopping you from excelling in your business? What do you think that is? Comment below so I can get some ideas and thoughts and see, if I can support you on the journey. Anyway, coming back to it, the final thing I want to say is sometimes we can get shiny eye syndrome. Okay. We see that this guy's made X amount of money with crypto, or this person's done all this stuff with NFTs, or this person has done amazing with the new agency that they've started, or this person has secured this big contract. Therefore, I must do it. Why? How do you know that's your portion? You don't know if that's your portion. It could be. Who knows? But if you know what you're supposed to be focusing on based on what you inherently desire, okay, deeply, and that could be from a life experience or something that's affected you in your life, then focus on that. It's okay, focus on that. Your time will come, provided you follow some of the tips and your own advice, of course, in order for you to stay focused on actually securing the bag and getting what it is that you really want to go out and get. So hopefully these different tips and thoughts have given you some ideas. They may not have meant anything for you. Okay, this may have been a waste of time, but I'm sure there's at least something in this that, you can at least relate to, resonate with, or whatever it may be. Again, if there's anybody who you feel needs to hear this message, pass it on to them. Let them hear it, because sharing is caring at the end of the day. Now, if you want to see more information about how to be more productive as an individual, then click the link in my description below so you can watch a previous event that I held focusing on high performance and my framework for enabling you to be more productive, but more authentic and meaningful as an individual as well. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.